Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to talk about one of the capabilities of Microsoft Entra ID conditional access policy, right? So what's that capability or what's that feature set? It's a named location, right? Where we would have an opportunity and options to configure IP addresses or IP address range specifically wherever we wanted to target any specific location in order to make sure that is a trusted location, or we wanted to make sure that location is should be bypassing the conditional access policy, right? And there are many other use cases as well where we would simply be adding those named locations along with IP ranges, and then that's going to be added and that can be used for all of the different scenarios, right? Be it a managed device or unmanaged device or any of those scenarios, right? So let's jump on and see how we can see that in action, right? So let me share my screen, but before that, I would give you bit about or bit context about named locations, right? So what is the named locations and how it is going to help us or any IT pros or any organization, right? So named locations is something or is a part of conditional access policy, right? Wherein we would be creating named locations with a certain range of IP addresses, right? And that range would be enforced to make sure, allow and add specific areas, right? And it's going to be added over there to make sure we have right set of configurations added, right? And for that purpose, I would simply share my screen and we would start up, right? So let me share my screen here and then we should be good. All right, so you can see that I have shared my screen and here's the name locations. Now you might be saying, okay, how I should go to this page. Okay, so let's jump back to the page or home page. And from there, we would go to protection and it is going to be under the identity protection. And from here, it is not here. I believe it is under the authentication methods. All right, okay. So from here, it is not, okay. Let me go to protections. No, I think it is going to be conditional access. Yeah, so it's under conditional access, right? And as I was saying that this option, which is going to be added during the conditional access policy, right? Or when we are creating conditional access policy, we do have options to add the named locations over there as well, right? But now you can see that on this page over here, we have a bunch of options at the top, which includes countries locations, IP ranges locations, and configure multi-factor authentication trusted IPs, right? So now if you wanted to configure multi-factor authentication bypass for a specific range of IP addresses, you would be able to go ahead and configure that under this option, which is this one. It says configure multi-factor authentication trusted IPs, right? So this is going to be a per user setting. Now you might be saying, okay, this is per user multi-factor authentication, right? So where is the option? There's an option under the service settings, right? Over here, we have an option to set up a trusted IP ranges or IP addresses where we don't want users to be asked for MFAs or multi-factor authentications, and that's going to be bypassed, right? For example, if users are connecting on a VPN and they are accessing any of the resources or workloads over the VPN, then we can bypass that authentication method over the VPN as well, even people are working from home or remotely. And if there is another scenario where people are working from office or from office network, then definitely we can do that as well by giving that respective IP range or IP addresses, and we can make that skipped. Here is the option which says skip multi-factor authentication for requests from federated users on the intranet, if in case we have that one as well, right? And there are some of the methods available for users for verification purpose. And then here's the option which says allow users to remember MFA on devices that they trust between 1 to 365 days. So we can select that checkbox and set that number of days for the trusted devices for, let's say, maybe I wanted to set it for 60 days. I can just give that 60 number over there and it's going to be added and verified that way, right? So this is the one of the capability or one of the way that we can bypass. But the real magic or the real scenario of this is, or this named location capability is with IP range locations and countries locations, right? Now you might be saying or wondering how we can add IP ranges, right? So here's the option. And from here, we can either upload the IP range, or if in case we wanted to download, we can download that as well. And that is going to be added. So let's say I wanted to give it a name, something like IPs of West US, right? I am just giving some random name so that we know what is it or for which site it is, right? Because if the company or business has their offices across US and other countries, then definitely we can give something like this. So it is easy to identify and understand as well. Also, you can mark this as a trusted location if in case you wanted to. And then there's a plus button over here. You would add the IP range, whether it is IPv4 or IPv6, right? So you should be able to add both ranges because that's allowed. For example, I would add 192.168.2.31 slash, I would give something 16 or 26, right? So slash 26 is a CIDR value, right? And that value is accepted after 8. After 8 means slash 8, which is a lesser bits or a lower value of the IP address, right? And one thing to know and remember is that you cannot add the private IP over here because this is only for the IP ranges, right? You need to give, you cannot add the private IP address or endpoints IP addresses. For example, if you have an server which is routable over the private IP or within the corporate network, but which does not have internet facing connectivity or activity, it is not going to be added and that's not going to support over here, right? So you need to add a public IP range which is routable over the internet, and that's going to add it, and that's how it is going to be considered as IP range and trusted locations as well, right? So for now, I have added this one. Let's see, it's added, and I can simply go ahead and create this location. Similarly, I can add many more, right? And also make sure to know and understand the limitation of IP ranges, right? So you can add named locations of IP ranges up to 195. So that's the limitations. If you cannot go more than 195, and within 195 IP ranges, you can add up to 2000 IP addresses or IP address ranges, right? So that's the limitation as well, right? So let's go ahead and create this one, and it is going to be shown up over here quickly. So probably it's just taking a bit of time to show up. Perfect. You can see that it's showing up as an IP ranges, right? It is marked as trusted one along with, you can see that conditional access policies. You can see that CA for protected actions context and four more, right? So you can see there are some of the policy names which are going to be marked and selected as well. So this is going to be based on the IP ranges that we have selected, right? And then you can see the creation date and modified date. And even if you wanted to delete, you can simply go ahead and delete that as well, right? Now, these are the different named locations. Similarly, there is a country's locations as well that I wanted to talk and show you, right? From here, you would see, you can give it a name, something like maybe I would give it India and countries lookup method. So there are two options again, and from there we can select either which locations to be determined by IP address, either IPv4 or IPv6, right? Or determine location by GPS coordinates, right? So if I select GPS coordinate, then there is an option for us to include unknown countries or regions, right? Which is not going to be part of this whole list. And if we set IPv4, even that option is also available, but it totally depends on us how we wanted to set it and configure it, right? So I'm going to select the first one, and then this option which says include unknown countries or regions, that's going to give us give us an option for those countries which are not part of this list, as well as where we don't know, or maybe we are not aware where we wanted to, or people should be traveling from one country to another for business purpose or any other regions. And that is why we wanted people to let them access, so that we can also make sure those are captured in our records, right? And that is why this option is going to be helpful. And for that purpose, I'll select maybe India, and because I'm just creating it for India for now, and hit create, right? And over here, you can see that this is created, right? So once it is created, we would see the complete list, and then probably we can just go ahead, and you can see it is not configured in any policy yet. So that means it is not yet applied to any policies at all, right? So this way we would be able to go ahead and create it and manage it, right? And it's going to help us based on that. So now let's jump back to the policy, and I would show you where we would be adding that one. So click on new policy, and I'm just going to give you a dummy example. Let's say CA for India, INDIA, and here's the option which says network. Under network locations, you have options to add or configure it. And these are the different options over here. We can select any of these one, any network or location, or trusted network and location, or compliant networks and locations, and selected. So under selected, you would see all those options that we have created. So I'll select this one, and I wanted to target only those out of this whole policy, right? So once that is targeted, I can simply add other conditions and controls, and probably this policy should work as expected, right? And this policy is ready to deploy, and then I should be ready to deploy it for the whole organization or pilot group or something like that, right? So this is how we should be able to do it, right? And the main important part of this is name locations, including IP ranges and countries, right? Along with if you wanted to work and make sure MFA should be trusted and excluded or bypassed from trusted IP ranges, that can also be configured. And if you wanted to know more and learn more, there is a complete separate document as well on this one. It has all the details given, including some of the limitations as well, which I was talking about, right? And some of the common questions as well that you might have and can learn and explore more on it, right? Definitely this, I would have gone through this one, but definitely it's going to take a lot of time, and video is going to be longer one, right? And maybe that's going to be boring later. So yep, that's all I wanted to show you and talk about it. So hope you like it. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends and people around you, so that they can also learn and know. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well, so that you will get to see every new video whenever it is uploaded and available on channel. So yeah, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching and bye for now.